Okay, next question we're going to do probably doesn't look related to this much at all, but first, Doc Philippi didn't have a set of 6-spot dominoes, so I took his 9-set domino group out and went back and kind of seeing spots before my eyes, sorted back down to the 6-spot dominoes. Now take a look. None of those have more than 6 of them, right? Am I right on that? No, okay. Okay, very good. Now first, how many of them are there? So you have to learn how to count things without actually literally counting them. So if you take the 0 on one end, how many other, and graph theory, since you guys are doing graph theory these days, a graph would be vertices and edges. Down one domino, Doug. So here goes, let's see. Start out with, let's see, I go 0, 5, and then I'll go 0, 4. I can take any 4 that I've got here. Well, why am I doing all this work? Why don't you come out and do these? And while she's doing that, can the rest of you decide whether or not she might be capable of looping that thing all the way around or not? Did you cross the 7 bridges of Königsberg? Or why couldn't you cross the 7 bridges of Königsberg? We talked about that last time I was here, I think, right? So what decided whether or not we could do the Spaziergang, the 7 bridge walk and so forth? Pardon? The number of edges coming into each vertex. And if that were odd, what would the result? You can't do it. If it's even, you can do it. Oh, let's go back here and do a edge count at a vertex. And if you happen to have been in a chemistry course, that would have been called the valence of a position and so forth. Okay, I want to tell you a little bit about what it was like for me as a youngster 75 years ago. I tried following my older brother and 2 older sisters on their way to a 1-room schoolhouse, and I went about 1.5 miles until a neighbor helped bring me back home. I guess people figured out that I really did like to go to school. In 1945, when I went to 1st grade, we had 30 first graders, but only 10 books, so I got to bring home my reading book only every 3rd night. Then later on in school, when I was in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, Herman Huffman, my teacher at that time, taught me how to do cube roots with an algorithm so that I could win his county forensic competition between all of the school students from Snyder County. It was a way of evaluating schools' mathematics quality at the many of the 1-room schoolhouses, and not only math but science, English, and history. Later on, when I was a college freshman in 1957, my English professor came in one day and said Funk and Wagnalls, the encyclopedia publisher, stopped the presses because they put a new word in the encyclopedia, namely Sputnik. The Russians had just started putting a satellite up that went around the world. Then several years later, when I was teaching 7th grade in Middleburg, when John Glenn made 3 passes around the earth, I took all of the 7th grade students and we spent the whole day in the cafeteria watching those 3 trips around the earth at that time. I then later on went to Bowling Green State University and got a master's degree, came back and taught at Susquehanna University, and then later on moved down and started teaching at Moravian College in September 1967.